The bluefin tuna is the most prized of one-he tuna family. It is a large fish that grows to 3 meters in length and 500 kilograms in weight as an adult. As the result of its good taste and high price, it has been overfished in recent years, resulting in the decrease in numbers. As a countermeasure, action has been taken worldwide to reduce catches. Today, a large quantity of the marketed bluefin tuna is farm-raised, which comes from wild-caught seed that have been raised to marketable size. If the fry are overfished, it is foreseen that farm-raised numbers will also decline. To maintain supplies under such severe conditions, technology for completely farm-raising bluefin tuna is needed. This technology involves raising artificially hatched larvae to adults, collecting eggs from them and artificially hatching those eggs to create the next generation. The fish are farm-raised in all stages without requiring wild stock. The Aquaculture Research Institute launched research in completely farm-raising bluefin tuna in 1970. Success came in June 2002. It took 32 years because the bluefin tuna is a delicate fish and little was known about its habitat. The key was to consistently monitor the fish. In the research process, it was discovered that the artificially hatched fry died suddenly. Therefore, various steps were taken to ensure an appropriate environment for cultivation. Eggs were then harvested from the fish once reached to adulthood, which completed the life cycle. Because the results were epoch-making and established the core technology in aquaculture research, future research was adopted for the 21st Century Co-Program of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology. Research will be continued to improve aquaculture technology for other commercially important species besides the bluefin tuna. Food for farm tuna is mainly live bait such as horse mackerel and mackerel. Unlike artificial food, live bait is suitable for fishing in an environment close to nature, so it is easy to bite and rich in animal protein. Tuna require more energy than other fish, so it is difficult for them to gain weight relative to the amount of food they are fed. So, it is said that for every 1 kilogram of growth, about 15 kilograms of live food is needed. In tuna farming in Japan, people often take wild juveniles, weighing about 100 to 500 grams, caught in nearby waters, raising them for 2 to 3 years until they reach maturity, weighing 30 to 50 kilograms. Or more, then transport them. So, the larger the tuna population, the more live bait is needed per year. Furthermore, preserving and managing purchased live bait requires refrigeration, incurring high costs such as electricity bills. When raising tuna, the majority of costs are feed. It is said to account for about 70% of production costs. There are 3 main ways to reduce expensive food costs. Reduce the unit price of raw food by purchasing with a cooperative group of individuals. Verify optimal feeding times for tuna and plan optimal feed amounts. Switch to artificial food, pellet form. If you buy in bulk, you can negotiate a discount with the bait supplier by purchasing the bait in bulk. One way to reduce the cost of purchasing live bait is to consult with cooperative organizations. Additionally, to reduce unnecessary feeding, there are ways to verify when tuna usually eat and feed them effectively. By understanding the irregularities in a tuna's eating habits, you can feed your tuna properly when it is eating and only feed it small amounts when it is not eating. This is a feed management method used by many aquaculture farmers to reduce feed costs. However, due to cost and differentiation, more and more fishermen are feeding their fish artificial feed, pellets. When feeding artificial foods, you need to look for pellets that are easy to chew. Most bluefin tuna farms are captive fisheries which take fish captured from the wild and keep them for a period of time, fattening them up for slaughter. The Japanese are experimenting with raising bluefin tuna in huge ocean enclosures from eggs. The term closed-loop cycle is used to describe the process of spawning bluefin in captivity and raising them to market maturity. As of 2011, only Kinki University had been able to successfully hatch bluefin eggs in a lab, raise the fish and sell the mature fish commercially. With 3 generations of fish spawned in captivity, Kinki no longer needs to take fish from the sea. Source: Adam Yamaguchi and Zach Slobig, Los Angeles Times, July 21, 2011. Although the closed-loop cycle for bluefin may represent the last best hope for saving the species, even this is not a long-term solution. Peter Bridson, aquaculture research manager at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, told the Los Angeles Times, "The best way to be eating bluefin is to reduce our consumption down to what we can catch from a very well-managed, sustainable fishery, and it's probably not a species that should ever really be farmed or ranched." In June 2002, a team at the Kinki University Fisheries Laboratory led by Professor Hidemi Kumai became the first to artificially breed bluefin tuna fry from to artificially incubated mature tuna. More than 5,000 eggs were produced by 6 7-year-old tuna and 14 6-year-old tuna, all of born and raised in captivity. About 160 of the bluefin tuna that hatched in 2002 were still alive in 2006. On average, they were about 1.2 meter long and weighed about 70 kilograms. Researchers from Kinki University are raising bluefin in circular pens, about 70 meters across, in waters off Kashimoto-cho, Wakayama. After the fish reach a length of 1 meter and weight of 30 kilograms and their fat content is high enough that can be sold commercially. Some reach a weight of 350 kilograms. The tuna are fed squid and mackerel. In 2009, Kinki University researchers hatched about 190,000 bluefin tuna eggs, of which about 40,000 grew to be fingerlings. This figure was impressive but still meant only 0.5% of the eggs survived. About 60 tons of bluefin tuna meat was produced. Branded Kindai Maguro, Kinki University tuna, it has a higher fat content than fish caught in the wild. Kinki University researchers have also had success raising kelp grouper and burhura, a hybrid species created by crossbreeding Japanese amberjack and gold-striped amberjack. The laboratory hopes to make 2 billion yen a year from selling fish it produces. It sells both fry to fish farmers and fresh fish that are marketed as being safe and high quality. The university successfully bred more than 20 types of fish, including red sea bream, bastard halibut, rock proggy and amberjack in the late 1960s. Researchers at Kinki University predict that Japan should be able to produce 100% of domestic demand for bluefin tuna with farmed fish raised from eggs rather than caught in the wild. In this process, 1. Eggs about 1 mm is diameter are fertilized. 2. After about 35 hours 3 mm fish are artificially hatched and fed on plankton for 15 to 20 days. 3. 3 to 5 cm long fry eat hatchling parrot bass and other fish for 2 to 3 months. 4. 20 to 30 cm long fingerlings eat process for feed for more than 4 years. 5. Mature fish are 1 meter to 1.5 meters long. The pens need to be at least 10 meters deep and 30 meters in diameter so that fish do not collide with nets. The pens need to be away from human activity as they are easily panicked by things like car lights and noise from fireworks, with some injuring themselves by crashing into their nets at high speed. The fish are also vulnerable to poor water conditions created by typhoons. Night lighting is used to accustom young fish to light. Bluefin tuna are regarded as particularly difficult to cultivate because of their sensitivity to conditions when laying eggs. The fish will not lay eggs in temperatures below 26 degrees Celsius or if it is too windy or rainy. Even if the eggs hatch they chance they will becoming a 6 cm long fry is only 3%. There is only a 0.1 chance the fish will reach a saleable size and be sold in markets. Even if they make it to adulthood, many die often panicking and ramming into the net or side of the enclosure. On the 22nd, tuna was landed in Ichikikishikino City, Kagoshima Prefecture, which has one of the largest numbers of long-distance tuna fishing boats in Japan. The tuna landed was about 30 tons of yellowfin tuna caught off the coast of Mozambique, Africa, between January and March by the 88th Taio Maru, 462 tons, which belongs to the local fishing company, Kushikino Maguro. Each fish weighs about 40 kilograms on average. It was transferred to a transport ship while frozen at -60 degrees and transported to Kushikino New Port in the same city. As frozen yellowfin tuna were pulled out of the transport ship one after another on this day, traders were busy sorting them. Kushikino Maguro President Kazuki Uesui, 54, said, "I'm glad we were able to land the tuna safely. I want the local people to enjoy eating it. It will be served at restaurants both in and outside the city." Shizuoka Prefecture is home to Yezu Port, one of the top fishing ports in Japan. According to the national landings of major fishing ports, Yezu Port's landing volume last year was approximately 155,000 tons. Although this is slightly down from approximately 169,000 tons in 2015, it is still the second largest in the country after Choshi Port, approximately 275,000 tons. According to Yezu City, the largest annual landing in 2015 was skipjack tuna, at approximately 100,000 tons, followed by tuna. The total landing volume of tuna species, including bluefin tuna, southern bluefin tuna, big eye tuna, and albacore tuna, came to approximately 53,000 tons. Meanwhile, what about Shimizu Port? Most of the tuna landed at Shimizu Port is caught by refrigerated transport ships. There is no market at the port, so dealers buy the whole ship, and it is not reflected in the statistics of the Fisheries Agency and other organizations, explains Hideo Oishi, Executive Director of the Shimizu Fishing Port Promotion Association, a general incorporated association. The Shimizu Fishing Port Promotion Association is an organization made up of tuna-related businesses connected to Shimizu Port, and currently has over 100 member companies. Tuna can be broadly divided into fresh tuna caught in the waters off Japan, such as Oma tuna, and frozen tuna caught in deep-sea fishing, and the tuna landed at both Yezu and Shimizu is frozen tuna caught in deep-sea fishing. However, there are also frozen tuna that is landed from fishing boats and frozen tuna that is brought by frozen transport ships from fishing boats operating in the deep seas. The frozen tuna brought by frozen transport ships is purchased directly by businesses from shipping companies, so it seems that the actual situation is difficult to see. Locals in Shimizu Port tout it as the #1 frozen tuna landing in Japan. Most of the tuna is landed from refrigerated transport ships. According to the Shimizu Fishing Port Promotion Association's own data, in 2015, only about 20,000 tons of frozen tuna were landed at Shimizu Port from fishing boats. On the other hand, 94,000 tons of frozen tuna were landed by refrigerated transport ships, and the total amount of frozen tuna landed at Shimizu Port in the same year reached 113,300 tons. According to the Promotion Association, the frozen tuna landed at Shimizu Port is caught by tuna longline fishing and is distributed as tuna sashimi. The total supply of sashimi tuna in 2015 was about 303,000 tons, Tuna Supply and Demand Council forecast, and the Promotion Association claims that 37.4% of the sashimi tuna supplied that year was landed and delivered at Shimizu Port, and furthermore, that in 2014, 44.9% of the total sashimi tuna supply was landed at Shimizu Port. Locals at Shimizu Port hold the Shimizu Port Tuna Festival every autumn, claiming to be the #1 frozen tuna landing in Japan. Shizuoka City, which is home to Shimizu Port, also promotes the port with the slogan, Shizuoka, the city of tuna, and is working to get the industry, government, and citizens excited. However, a person related to Yezu Port said, the tuna at Shimizu Port includes a lot of Yezu tuna that was bid for at Yezu Port and landed in Shimizu. The slogan, Japan's #1 frozen tuna, shows a passion for tuna, but it also gives a glimpse into the struggle between the fishing and distribution industry surrounding tuna.